GH fan theory. One hot mic, one big mouth, and one spectacular public crash. General Hospital fans are impatiently awaiting Drew's downfall. It could happen in spectacular style. Of course, Drew loves to make a statement, and he will do it any way he can, even if that means proclaiming his love for Willow. But a wild hot mic moment could ruin everything he created. Drew, Cameron Matheson, held an infamous press conference back in June. Many truths were revealed. In addition to the press conference, there was also an unflattering piece published about him in The Invader. Tracy's, Jane Elliott, revelations led to this notorious press conference. However, GH fans are hoping for another one to unfold. Sandra McAlpin, a fan, came up with this incredible theory. Drew could hold another live press conference at the Port Charles Piers, where he'll share his support for Measure C and announce his upcoming nuptials to Willow, Caitlin McMullen. However, it could quickly turn into a disaster when Drew insists that Rick Hurst, attend as Willow's divorce and custody attorney in an effort to show a united front. Hot mic moment. But what happens at the conference will not get Port Charles talking. It's what they hear behind the scenes, in the green room. Drew will brag to Rick that his plans to get Willow away from Michael, Rory Gibson, worked in his favor. Drew will go on and on about his efforts to ruin the Quartermaines and make sure that Willow never speaks to Michael ever again. He will also expose his plans about lying to Willow that Michael never loved her and that he partnered with Sidwell, Carlo Rhoda, to hurt Sonny, Maurice Benard. It wasn't about Measure C. It was never about Measure C. Drew couldn't care less about it. It was about him getting ahead and getting what he wanted. This is also revealed as Willow, Martin, Michael E. Knight, Kai, Jens Austen Astrup, and the reporters are listening in, getting an earful and documenting every word. Drew has no idea that he's exposing his own blackmail and dirty deeds. This could lead to his public downfall. Ultimately, Drew will get stripped of his congressional seat. Meanwhile, Willow will be allowed to see her kids again at Ferncliff. Drew will be left to pick up the pieces by himself. Even Sidwell and Ezra, Daniel Cosgrove, won't want anything to do with him. Even those in Drew's orbit will suffer the consequences of his actions. Rick will get disgraced as Martin gets exonerated. In the ever-chaotic world of General Hospital, secrets are currency, and loose lips can detonate storylines like dynamite. Now fans are buzzing with a scorching new theory that could append half of Port Charles, all because of one rogue hot mic. One gossip-loving loudmouth and a jaw-dropping public reveal that crashes an entire event. Let's set the scene. It's the grand reopening of the Savoy after a sleek renovation, curated by none other than Marshall, and a very involved Curtis, determined to restore the venue's legacy. The place is decked out in gold and midnight blues, everyone from the mayor to mobsters making an appearance. Media, socialites, Quartermaines, Cassadines, and Corinthos family members are in attendance. Champagne flows, camera crews swarm, and there's a live broadcast to commemorate the big night. But what no one knows, yet, is that a hot mic will soon capture a scandal so explosive. The fallout will send shockwaves through families, friendships, and entire power dynamics. The setup, a microphone that should have been off. According to this popular fan theory, Trina is helping Spencer, recently returned from Paris and newly committed to redeeming himself, set up sound checks and live streams at the Savoy as part of a college internship program with PCU. Everything's supposed to be professional, until Spencer makes the mistake of leaving a lapel mic hot after a test. Meanwhile, Maxie and Brooklyn are huddled backstage, doing what they do best, trading juicy gossip. Only what they don't realize is that their private conversation is being broadcast, loud and clear, through the club's sound system and the live stream's early feed. The bombshell, Who said what? Maxie, leaning in conspiratorially, lets something slip. Can you believe Nina still thinks Drew doesn't know about her part in tipping off the SEC? That woman's playing with fire. He's been plotting revenge with Carly this whole time. Brooklyn gasped so dramatically, it could win her an Emmy. Wait, Drew knows. I thought they were just being civil for Willow's sake. Maxie nods, completely unaware of the live mic. Girl, Drew's just biding his time. He's been feeding Minna false hope, trying to trap her into exposing more. And you know Carly, she's ready to burn everything down. Even Michael's scratch. Across the room, Sonny Corinthos, sipping his bourbon and trying to avoid eye contact with Ava, freezes. Nina's eyes widen in horror, lips parting as her entire world begins to crumble. Olivia Quartermain clutches her pearls, literally, and Drew himself looks like a deer caught in emotional headlights. Willow, meanwhile, turns ghostly white. The crowd goes silent, except for the slow, painful realization that something very real just played out over surround sound. The spectacular crash, Nina's breakdown. This theory doesn't end with awkward silence. It ends in glorious chaos. Nina, realizing she's been duped, betrayed, and publicly humiliated, doesn't go quietly. She grabs a mic, this time on purpose, and lets the venom fly. You think I'm the villain? She hisses, voice quivering. You all sit there pretending to be better than me, Carly, Drew, even Michael. But you've all lied, schemed, and cheated. Carly kept Willow from me for months. Michael hired a spy to watch his father. Drew's pretending to forgive me so he can destroy me later. So who's really the snake in this town? Sonny steps forward, trying to defuse the situation, but it's no use. Nina, stop. You're making it worse. But Nina's past the point of no return. No, Sonny, I am the worst, just like you always feared. And maybe I've been playing pretend for too long. You didn't want the real me, you wanted someone to fit the mold. Well, surprise, I'm finally taking off the mask. Then, in what fans are dubbing a soap legend moment, Nina hurls her champagne glass across the room, shattering it at Carly's feet, before storming out to a frenzy of gasps and camera flashes. Fallout and frenemies. If this theory plays out, the consequences would be legendary. Drew would be forced to face the fact that his slow burn revenge plan just scorched Willow and possibly torched his future with Carly. Willow, devastated, may walk away from both of them. Carly gets publicly exposed as a co-conspirator, which could threaten her hard-won relationship with Jason, who might return just in time to find out Carly's reigniting her worst impulses. Michael, always trying to walk a tightrope, may find himself at odds with Willow, Dante, and even Joss if he's seen as just another manipulator in the game. Sonny, heartbroken and blindsided, would spiral further. If Nina leaves town or disappears after the humiliation, it might push him into dangerous territory, especially if Ava or Jason swoops in during his most vulnerable moment. Maxie and Brooklyn, meanwhile, would have some serious explaining to do, and possibly a new podcast to pitch. But wait, was it really an accident? Here's where the fan theory gets even juicier. Some sleuthing fans believe the mic wasn't left on by accident at all. What if Spencer, who's been acting a little too calm lately, wanted the world to hear the truth? After all, he's got a Cassadine streak, and he's still trying to gain Trina's trust back. Exposing hypocrisy on a massive scale. That could be his way of showing he's changed, by blowing everything else up. Or maybe Tracy Quartermain had her hand in it. With her tendency to manipulate from the shadows, she might have orchestrated the whole mess to create leverage, or just for pure sport. The aftermath, a new era begins. If this hot mic theory becomes canon, It would mark the start of a new era in General Hospital, one where masks are dropped, secrets are currency, and no one can hide behind their carefully constructed lies anymore. Relationships would be tested, allegiances would shift, enemies would become allies, and vice versa. In true GH fashion, it would be a glorious mess of emotion, betrayal, heartbreak, and power plays.